Wow, my voice is really going. Happy Wednesday night. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys, as always, for being with us. We really appreciate it. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV for lots of great content. And also, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. Tonight, we are going to explore what dreams are made of with the Lizzie McGuire movie. This was not the original topic we had for tonight. We were going to be talking about Mrs. Doubtfire, but Disney Plus, man, they're messing with us. We did Sound of Music last week, and they've already pulled that from Disney Plus, so you can't find it. And then Mrs. Doubtfire, we were going to do that one. And so now we've changed gears to the Lizzie McGuire movie, because why not? It's Hilary Duff. Speaking with this great panel tonight, let's introduce them, starting with Miss Allison. How are you?
I'm doing well, Rob. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here. And again, I know you and I were going to do Mrs. Doubtfire, and then we got all messed up. And then Desi?
Happens.
Buongiorno.
Okay, is there going to be a lot of that tonight? Just give me a heads up. And then for her first time on Deep in the Plus, it is Shannon. Shannon, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Rob said, why not take a crazy chance? And I said,
yes,
why not?
Exactly. And that's what this whole night is about, is just taking crazy chances with Hilary Duff and Lizzie McGuire. So again, like I said, it's weird because I feel like Bob Iger, when Disney Plus was made, was saying this is going to be everything. The entire Disney catalog is going to be at your fingertips. And there's so many things that are still missing, things move in and out. And I feel like, Allison, they target us, you and me, because we were going to do Anastasia. Nope, that's not on there. We were going to do Maleficent, the first one. Nope, that's not on there. We were going to do Mrs. Doubtfire, and that's not on there either. Do you think it's something personal that they're holding against us? What's going on?
Yeah, this is like 50% of the times that I try to come on this show, they remove something. But I think it's probably also because I pick some unconventional movies to do with you.
Well, it's Deep in the Plus. We can't just pick everything that's, just right off the top. But there's a lot of stuff that's still not on there, and it's still bothersome to me. Tower of Terror. I would have done Tower of Terror so many times already, and that's not on there. Tomorrowland. House of Mouse. What the heck? Why don't we have House of Mouse on there? Some of the things I get, like Muppets Tonight, they probably have some issues with music licensing, but most of the stuff should be on there, and there's a ton that's still not. So here we are with Lizzie McGuire. Lizzie McGuire is based on the TV series. Can I see a show of hands? How many of the three of you watched the Lizzie McGuire series? Wow. Okay. So let me. I did not. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. It was a weird time for me. I did not see that. My niece was a huge fan, but I did not see the Lizzie McGuire series. Probably at the time, with not having any kids, it would have been kind of a red flag if I was watching the Lizzie McGuire series. So I was not. But let me ask Desi. Desi, when you were watching this, the original series, did you feel like you were akin to Lizzie at the time?
I was a little older than Lizzie. I think I was in college, maybe high school, but probably college. My sister, however, I am much older than, so she was younger than Lizzie. So Lizzie was kind of in the in-between age between my sister and me, and so therefore we kind of had one show that we could bond over and watch together.
Ah, so it was your bond together show. Shannon, what was your excuse?
No, actually, I was about Lizzie's age, so I was probably most relatable to the show. And similar to Desi, I have an older sister, and I don't think she watched Lizzie McGuire that I know of. I was a bit beyond her time, but yeah, I could definitely relate to it. But watching back on the movie as an adult, I really questioned a lot. This is an 8th grade field trip, and they're going to Italy, and they're dressing like they're going to a full-time job. It was very confusing, but still just as precious.
Don't start pulling those threads already. It's too soon to do that. No, I don't disagree with you. As a matter of fact, when I watched it, and I thought maybe I'd seen this before, this movie, because again, we're talking about the movie, not the series. But when I was watching it, and it was her graduation, for some reason, I thought this was her high school graduation. And then I'm thinking, why are they taking an Italy trip on her high school graduation? I see you nodding your head, Allison. Did you think the same thing? or was I just not paying attention?
No, that's it's a completely reasonable thing to think, and they also like look much older. They're probably not that much older, but they certainly look older than eighth grade. I don't, maybe eighth graders now, but eighth graders at the time did not look like that. Um, no, I'm just nodding my head because it makes sense. But for me, I was too old to watch Lizzie McGuire, but I watched it because there's something compelling about Hilary Duff and Lizzie McGuire, even though she's not a particularly good actress. You just kind of want to watch her.
How dare you?
But
How dare you?
But when this movie came out, it's really funny. I was a senior in high school, and I could not possibly. This was it. Although it looks like something that could be on released on the Disney Channel, it was not. It was released in theaters, and there was no
Yeah.
way I was going to ask any of my friends to come with me to see the Lizzie McGuire movie at 18 years old. So I was teaching a like dance classes at the time to kids, and I set up a field with my third grade like jazz dance class for no reason because it had nothing to do with dance to come see the Lizzie McGuire movie. So I had a troupe of like 9 year olds come with me to the theaters, and I got to see it in the theater at the time.
I used to take girls on college dates to Disney movies, so I have no shame when it comes to that kind of thing. We'll swing by, get the Happy Meal, and then and the toy, and then go. It's top notch. So you were mentioning like this came into the theater. That was this. I think this might have been the first one that came into the theater because the Hannah Montana movie was the same sort of a thing. She was in, it was on the Disney Channel as a series, and then they did the Hannah Montana movie in the theater. Same thing with High School Musical 3 is that they moved from Disney Channel to the theater. So there must have been some this was the first one, I think. And can you guys think of any others other than those three where they did that? They took the leap from Disney Channel to the theater?
This was the only one of those that I actually saw in the theater.
Well, and then, some of these series would have spin-off movies, but those movies were like on the Disney Channel, like, before this show started, Shannon was saying she was really more of an Even Stevens girl, and Even Stevens had
Yeah.
like a
Oh, yeah.
movie. Wasn't that the one where they went to like Hawaii or something like that?
An island, yeah.
So there's a lot of similarities between this and Even Stevens, Shannon, don't you think? Because you've got the older
Yeah.
sister and the annoying little brother, but I feel like that this one's more about the sister and the other one was really more about the annoying brother, right?
For sure, yeah. And personally, like I thought Shia LaBeouf was really funny. Like Lizzie McGuire was a bit wholesome and cheesy, but I felt like even Stevens was more comedic, at least in my opinion. So I was always a bigger fan of that. Family dynamic was different, but yeah, I'm still team Lizzie at the end of the day as well.
Well, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the cartoon character. Y'all watch the series, so tell me about the cartoon character. I'm going to put you on the spot first, Allison. The cartoon character, like it feels like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I guess this is sort of her inner monologue. That was like kind of the little gimmick of the show. I don't feel like they used it a ton here, and I don't like again not having seen the series. I didn't think I needed to really know anything about it other than it was like a little Lizzie McGuire. But did it have a cute name or? Did they overuse it in the show and underuse it in the movie? Tell me everything about it, Allison. Go.
I wish I were watched some more of the show, but as I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, this feels exactly like what I remember the show to be with the use of the balance of the use of the cartoon. But I didn't really think it was just like an alter ego that it would say things that she didn't think of in the moment because you often find her being like, and then the cartoon character says the things she wished she said at that moment or she like sort of kicks herself for saying something that was embarrassing or just not being exactly smooth. But the show itself sort of reminded me of like a Disney Channel version of Clarissa Explains It All, which was much more around my time because it is the like she's sort of quirky and her own person, and she's got the annoying little brother, and she's got this like male best friend, and they like are cool adjacent but not quite in the in crowd, like so that's like what I think is compelling about this. It makes her identifiable even with this weird like, and it has that confessional thing because that Clarissa had that too where she's always talking to the camera. Here we have the cartoon character that does that
I wasn't
for
allowed to
us.
watch anything that wasn't Disney, so I didn't really watch Clarissa Explains It All. But Desi, do you find that the character, the cartoon character, was that relatable to you? The idea of, oh, I wish I'd said that in the moment. Do you have your own little
I'm,
cartoon character in your mind?
I don't have my own little cartoon character in my mind, but yeah, it's probably relatable to girls who are that age. Like I said, I was in college when this came out, so not quite as relatable to me at that point in my life. But I think for the target demographic of middle school girls who are watching Liz McGuire, yeah, for sure.
So Lizzie McGuire was, I guess, Hilary Duff's big break, but her first movie was Casper Meets Wendy. Did y'all watch that one?
No,
No, nobody.
I would have
I
said
think
her
it was
first movie was Cadet Kelly.
no, that was after.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, sorry. 1998, Casper Meets Wendy. So I think she was Wendy in that one. It was based off of those I think it's Harvey comics, with like Richie Rich and Casper the Friendly Ghost and all those little characters. But 1998 is when that happened, and then this series happened in 2001. Ran for 2 seasons, 65 episodes. Good Lord and butter, 65 episodes. And that's really feels like 4 seasons, but it was billed as two. And then the movie came out in 2003. Cost $17 million to make. It's hard to believe. Where did the money go? I guess to fly them all to Italy, probably.
yeah.
And then it made $55 million at the box office. But
Wow.
Hilary Duff was part of that Disney machine where they would bring in somebody and give them a show, and then move them into like DComs, and they would sing. I guess like Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus. But I mean, Allison, do you think like did Hillary just miss the boat on that? Because I feel like they tried for a singing career for her, but she never hit it as big as the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Disney that was driving that train or if it was just she was aging out of Lizzie McGuire and they still wanted to like make a profit off of her. And so here's transition her to a music career. But she was really the first when she was doing that because like Selena Gomez and Miley Cyrus, that's all after. So I think whoever was going to do that, it was like, oh, let's try your music career so you have a thing after this sitcom ends that you've been working on for the last 3-4 years. But I mean, I think it flopped for a lot of reasons. But I mean, her like singing talent is also like there are a couple of movies also that try to do this. I remember one where she's like, I forgot the name of it, but she's like goes to like a conservatory for high school, and it's very bad.
Agent Cody Banks.
That was
No,
that was not Disney though.
no,
But yeah.
no. I was just and the Cinderella story. That's the only
Yeah.
other one I know.
oh
her from.
yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
loved
Yeah,
that
that
one.
one I remember.
But it feels like, doesn't it, that Hilary Duff was a bigger part of Disney than just Lizzie McGuire and Cadet Kelly, doesn't it? I don't think she was, but I think it feels like she was like the Lindsay Lohan, the Zendaya, the ones that were like kind of everywhere. But in looking at IMDb, it doesn't look like she was. Thoughts?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
she
there
just
were
did a lot of
fewer shows at
commercials.
that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be true. There were fewer shows, fewer outlets for that
She
kind
did a
of a
lot
thing.
of drawing
Yeah.
the Mickey head with the glow stick.
You're watching Disney Channel. Yeah,
Exactly.
classic.
But
So
even
this
at
movie,
the time, I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Shannon. No, go ahead.
No, even at the time, for me personally, although I did watch Disney Channel, right? You have That's So Raven. That was Disney Channel, right? And even
Yes, it
Stevens
was.
and Lizzie McGuire, yeah. But the bigger thing for me was always Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. You had all that. So I feel like competing with those big shows, the Amanda Show, like I always preferred those over some of the Disney Channel shows. The Disney Channel shows like Lizzie McGuire, Rob, you asked me if I'd seen the show, and the answer was yes, but I can't recall any specific episodes because it was just something I'd watch when I was getting ready for school or just got home and wanted to kick around. But I will never forget the Good Burger skit and all that, right?
Yes, we get it. Nickelodeon's better. Fine, whatever. I think it's different generations. It's wherever you were in your life
Yeah.
when that kind of stuff was out. So like, definitely Ren and Stimpy was a thing for me on Nickelodeon, and
Same.
Some of these shows, like I know that my kids were more into than others, and again, I think it just depends on the time. But Nickelodeon had a very cool factor with the, Good Burger and all that, and like you were talking about with Clarissa Explains It All, it's like a little edgier, I think, and I think that then
I was
Disney probably
definitely of the
tried to move into that.
Clarissa era and not the Amanda Show era. I was too old by that time.
And now look at
Same.
Amanda.
Oh,
Yeah, poor thing. So when this movie opens up, it opens up with a musical number with her trying to get dressed. How many Disney movies start like that? I feel like 90, 100, something like that.
All of them.
I feel like, I mean, even Xenon sort of starts like that with her in her bedroom and getting ready and all that, right?
Yep.
So I
All
feel
of
like
the movies we did for Lindsay Lohan month.
yes, yes. Get a Clue and Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. They all seem like they start with it's morning and she's in her bedroom and she's getting ready and playing music. Yeah, that seems a little bit like that was, well, we need to start there. We just need to figure out where the movie goes after that. But we know we've got that solid locked in. So when I first started to see that, I was like, maybe I have seen this movie. And I'm like, no, I've seen this other scene 100 times before in these Disney
Right.
movies. So then she's in there and she's singing into the hairbrush and going through her clothes, and then we meet her creepy little brother who is devious as all little brothers
And
seem to
watching
be.
her get dressed, that's weird.
Yeah, like why are you
I
so obsessed with me?
Because we
Why are you
see
so
her in
obsessed?
several different outfits, and it looks like her brother's watching the whole time. That's creepy. I don't like it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's just skim over that because that is so problematic. We don't have time to deal with that. So then she goes to her what I thought was her high school graduation. There's robes and hats and a commencement speech and orchestra, and I thought that's what it was, but apparently it was
orchestra.
yeah, right? There was an orchestra.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, just like you have at every junior high, graduation, I guess. But Allison, were you in? I think you were talking about this a minute ago. Like, were you in the same vein where you were like, I think this is high school, or nah?
No, because I was watching the show and I knew and I was about to graduate from high school and I knew I was much older than Lizzie McGuire.
Oh,
I knew
gotcha.
it wasn't high school, but it did look like that. If you have no like grounding, it makes perfect sense that you would think that.
Yeah. Well, so then the next thing we see after she messes up her high school, junior high graduation speech, which by the way, the valedictorian couldn't make it, which I mean, wouldn't you move heaven and earth if you were the valedictorian to get there? But the valedictorian of junior high, it's the most pivotal valedictorian like title you'll ever get. She couldn't show up, and so I guess she was the class president, and then it was going to go to the vice president, and then apparently she was the treasurer. And they say, well, since you're the treasurer, you have to make the speech. You've made no preparations. It's 90 seconds before you go on, but you have to make this speech in front of everybody. So you knew it was going to go super well for her. And then it didn't.
She was
And then
no Margaret
apparently,
Chan.
you're telling me. Ugh. Wow. So I don't even know the purpose of that scene other than to get us all in like the frame of here's Gordo, here's her friends, here's what's going on in her school. Here's the girl she hates that hates her, the mean girl. Kind of, I guess, to put us in that place because that scene otherwise there's good.
They had to write off Miranda, I think was her best friend's name in the show. So they just kind of wrote her off with one line. I feel like that could have been done later in Miranda chose to go to Wet and Wild or whatever
The water park.
the other kids went to. Or she could have, been on some other vacation. It looked like it was a fairly small class trip, so I didn't think that it was necessary for her to miss the graduation. Why would you miss your middle school graduation?
Well, same with Margaret Chan, right?
Well, she was sick or had Ebola or something.
But that's what I was going to ask, though. I was leading up to the whole Miranda thing. I don't know Miranda because I didn't watch the series. And again, Allison, Miranda, did you miss her? Was she important? Are you sad she wasn't in the movie? Did you remember
Yeah,
her?
I was sad. Yeah, I remembered her, and it's like I think it's a huge gaping hole, and it's also like very weird when, like, clearly there's a relationship developing between Lizzie and Gordo, and it's like, oh, where's this gonna lead? Start high school. This actually would be a really interesting story to tell. But yeah, I liked Miranda a lot, and one of the few episodes that I remember very clearly of Lizzie McGuire was like one of those after school specials where Miranda has like an eating disorder where she skips like 2 meals and then faints. And it's sort of an absurd plot line, but dealing with very serious subject matter. But she played it very very well and believably, even though it was ridiculously written.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, she's not in it. Do we know why? Does anybody know like why the actress wasn't in it?
Yeah, well, according to Wikipedia, she was
Oh,
doing a concert
Wikipedia.
tour with Radio Disney.
Are you serious?
Oh,
That's what.
wow.
And listen, Wikipedia, there's nothing more true about Wikipedia, so I get all my
I
Well,
facts
think
from
this would
there.
have come before the Radio Disney tour.
well, and you would think, I mean, it's if it's a Radio Disney tour and it's a Lizzie McGuire movie and they're both filming, you think they would have found a way to put that together. But I mean, it doesn't look
I
like there was
had
a place for her in
always
this movie.
I had always shipped Miranda with Gordo, so it was very weird for me to see all of a sudden Lizzie was now into Gordo. I don't know.
Are you going to
That's
be
all
okay
I'm
about it?
I just thought it was weird. I felt like it came out of nowhere. I had never once shipped Lizzie and Gordo together.
Um, is it weird that I feel like you look like a 1970s French stewardess?
I'm going to Disneyland Paris next week.
Ah, bonjour tout le monde. Okay, so yes, Duolingo. Anyway, let's talk about the soundtrack because somebody asked in the chat just now. I think it was Steven, like to Desi, like what is your favorite song from this soundtrack? And a lot of them are covers. So like Shining Star, and what was the other Supermodel,
I
and
think I had this CD back in the day.
yeah, it's kind of weird though, right? Like that they're all covers, and some of them are like not very old covers. Again, the Supermodel could not have been too. There wasn't Supermodel RuPaul,
That would have been in the
It
90s,
was.
right?
Yeah.
and so this is Taylor Dane doing RuPaul
Oh,
in
wow.
a Lizzie
That's a
McGuire movie.
throwback.
Interesting.
Weird.
Yeah. But the big song I feel like is What Dreams Are Made Of. And I feel like I
Yeah.
hear it at every Disney convention I've ever been to. And so I know the song. I'm just not really sure I knew where it was from or, the context of it in
Oh,
this movie. So, I mean, I can sing along. I mean,
ev-
like Paolo, but I can sing
every
along.
time, every time somebody says, "Hey now," that's what I think of. This
Me
is
Not,
what
too.
dreams are made of. I'm not
not,
singing
hey,
it.
now you're an all-star. Get your game on. No? Okay.
No,
No, apparently not. Although I have been to a Smash Mouth concert and not a Hilary Duff concert.
Well, you need to check your priorities. Allison, you were about to say something.
Oh no, no, I'm just floored. I can't believe they used that song ever. You've heard that and you were familiar with it.
Well, what
But
dreams
the
are
thing
made of, you
that's
mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't believe that they've continued to use that 20 years, 20 plus years later.
I
But
think
the
it
one
made the
that like
movie.
is
Wait,
the
what
one
did you
gets
say,
that gets
Shane?
under my skin.
Oh, sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Allison, finish.
No. Oh, the one that
Yes.
gets under my skin is why not?
And why not? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and it's on this soundtrack twice. One says why not, and one says why not the Mix. The Mix. I guess that's how they close out the movie. I was waiting for there to be some sort of like even Stevens after the credits weird thing happening. So I did watch to the end of the credits, and no, there is not. There is nothing. Um, so, other than like at the very end, again, does the character have a name? Is it Little Lizzie? Is it just doesn't have a name? Okay, cool.
No, just
Nope.
Uh,
Lizzie.
so I'm just gonna say little Lizzie was like Tinkerbell and did the splashes from the end of Disney, the Wonderful World of Disney, which I thought was kind of a neat, weird touch to do. But anyway, um, do you think, Desi? I'm sure like you've spent a lot of time in Rome based on the accent that you've procured. Um, what do you think that the Rome stuff was cheesy? Was felt authentic? I mean, the Trevi Fountain stuff, all that kind of stuff, was that cool or is that
Yeah, it
cheesy?
was super cool because I picked it as my school trip like the following year. So Lizzie inspired me to go to Rome. Uh, Part of my scholarship when I got to college was to pick a cultural experience. So two of the girls who got that scholarship and I went on a trip to Rome together, thanks in large part to this movie. So I really appreciated seeing all the parts of Rome because it made me really want to go.
Let's talk about that. You could make a choice whether you wanted to go to the water park or Italy.
It probably had to do with how much money your family had as well.
Well, if it had to do with the money, it really kind of stinks that the principal was calling the people who went to the water park mouth
Has
breathers.
Trailer
trailer
trash mouth
trash.
breathers.
Yeah, right? What the heck?
Cringy.
I'm sorry we can't all afford to send our, what, 16-year-olds to Europe for,
I
for the
went
summer, but
I went to London on a school trip in high school, and it was just, I think, sophomores and juniors. But there was probably 12 of us total because it was an extra cost. So I'm
yeah.
sure the majority of families can't afford that.
I used to work for King's Dominion, which is owned by Cedar Parks now, and they would send like we were like in the games department, we were managers. I may have told this story before, and they would send us to sister parks. And so you could go to the sister park, which was Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina, or you could go to the sister park, Canada's Wonderland in Canada, and they would send you to either. Why would you go to the border of North Carolina and South Carolina if they're going to send you to freaking Canada on a just a trip they're paying? I never could understand that at all. So when I'm thinking about this too, I'm thinking like, okay, you could go to the water park or you go to Italy. That doesn't even seem like a fair choice because now you're really saying the haves and the have-nots. This is super sneeches
Yeah.
kind of a situation, where like, oh, did you go to Italy? No. Oh, then you went to the water park, didn't you? And also, one
Mouth
of them is
breathers.
like, how long was that trip versus how many days did they spend at the freaking water park?
Two
Like,
weeks versus probably a weekend at the water park.
yes, I mean, I don't know that I could spend more than 3 days at a water park, even Blizzard Beach, but maybe, I mean, maybe. So, excuse me. So Shannon,
Yeah.
where was your class trip to? Because I feel like it must have been someplace super bougie.
Oh my gosh. No, my eighth grade field trip was actually at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. So
Ooh.
absolutely not bougie. Definitely not Italy.
Oh,
I probably had a little bit of fun, but not Italy fun. I don't know where these schools are that these kids get to go on these trips.
we
Well,
went to
and plus, I
DC for my
mean,
eighth grade trip.
you went to where?
DC, so it was in the U.S.
Well, I mean, why didn't they just send you to Epcot? I mean,
Should
it's the
have.
same. It's the
That
same.
was
We
senior
all know
year, grad
we
night.
all know it's the same. Let's talk a little bit about the cast. Obviously, Hilary Duff was, the lead here, and I think she did a good job in this movie. I mean, it's the Lizzie McGuire movie, so she already knew how to play this part. But I think she did okay. I think there's the scene where she and Isabella are singing together on stage, and she, I think, does a fair enough good job of Lizzie being a little bit more timid with her singing and her then Isabella being all confident and like really kind of playing two people there. I feel like she did. Um, and then the rest of the cast, we've got the principal is being played by Alex Borstein, who is Lois from Family Guy, and she's also in the Mrs. Maisel. And she basically plays every role she's ever played is just like this, isn't it?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And then Robert Carradine plays her dad, and he was her dad in the series. But I know him from Revenge of the Nerds. Like, every time I see him, that's what I remember is Revenge of the Nerds, because he was like the head nerd in that movie. No, you guys never saw that movie, probably.
No,
Oh,
no.
I've seen
okay,
it
all
and
right.
I never connected the two.
Wow. I think with Lewis, I think it was him and Anthony, the dude that played Goose in.
Michael Hall.
No, 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 no. That's Anthony Michael Hall is the one from 16 Candles. He's the guy from who played Goose in Top Gun.
Top Gun?
Yes. It's Anthony something. Anyway, the point is they were in this movie called Revenge of the Nerds, and it's a movie I've watched apparently way too many times. If y'all have no idea what I'm talking about, but he like Robert Carradine was the lead nerd, and then to my knowledge he didn't really do much else other than being the dad on this show. So it was no surprise to me they were able to get him for the movie. That's exciting that they were able to lock him down. But the mom was the same dad and the brother. So, and then there really there weren't any big stars in this movie other than that. So again, $17 million seems about right for throwing this movie together. So the basic gist is they go to Italy. She's mistaken for this pop star Isabella, and she is it's a prince and a pauper sort of a situation at that point, right? Or am I wrong on that, Allison? Because like, isn't the Prince and the Pauper like they look the
They
same,
switch
and so they
places.
switch places?
Like
You
almost
can
like
give
a
me
Freaky
credit for that.
Friday thing, except yeah, no, that's fair. It's just because Isabella doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't get to like go undercover as Lizzie.
True. No, that's fair. And then this guy Paolo just sweeps her off her feet, convinces her to help him out. Here's the thing too: is I feel like when we find out that Paolo is the bad guy, it kind of hits you from left field. Like it's not one of those things like in Frozen where there were like hints that that he was going to betray her or something like that. And even after he does, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still Team Paolo. Like, no.
Oh, I mean, it builds this energy, this love connection, and you're expecting fireworks with this romantic swept off your feet in Italy, and then we find out he's the bad guy, which I'm okay with. But then Gordo gets a cheap kiss on the roof, and then they just walk away to go back to whatever they were doing. And it just felt so anticlimactic.
Team Gordo
Poor
is what you're
Gordo.
saying.
Yeah.
Although, as Desi was saying, that this blows her mind because this, she was, uh,
It was a
Gortilda?
really
Is
weird
that
kiss.
okay?
It was like thank you. You're welcome.
Well, they're
Okay.
basically both like 7 years old when they're in this, so it wasn't like
Well, this is like friend zone before friend zone was a thing. Like Gordo was tragically stuck in the friend zone.
did he invent the friend zone? Do we think that's what happened?
Maybe.
But that's why
Nico
I'm glad at
says,
least she kissed him, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna initiate this. It wasn't like kind of like, oh, I'll accept this kiss from you as like a charity. She like felt compelled to kiss him, so it's like they tried to make it feel like it's a mutual thing.
just throw the guy a bone, right? Basically. Nico has said Anthony Edwards. That was the name of the guy I was thinking of. So he and Robert Carradine were kind of the lead nerds, and then there was Booger. No, nobody. Great. Anyway, Nico also said shout out to King's Dominion. So it was I'm not going to tell anybody they should go watch that movie, but if you haven't, I mean, if you got like 95 minutes to kill and you've already watched this, then maybe you go watch that. So anyway, let me again thank everybody for being here and remind everybody to give us a thumbs up if you can, because I want to ask these ladies a couple trivia questions from this
no.
movie. Wait, why is Shannon making faces? I don't understand. They're going to be
I'm
so
not
easy.
prepared.
You'll be fine. This one actually, this first question I thought was going to be pretty difficult, but then it comes back around, so I think it's pretty easy. Her little brother pops in the very first scene. He pops the videotape into his into his camera and closes it, what does it say on the videotape?
Blackmail.
Blackmail.
Yes, but like it comes back, so I feel like it would have been a really good question if that hadn't been the case. When she's in there in her first scene and she's singing into her hairbrush, what is the song she is singing in the very first scene?
I don't remember.
And extra points if you could tell me who the original singer of that song was.
Okay.
Don't look it up, Shannon. Don't do it.
My hands are clean.
The Tide is High.
It is The Tide is High.
Yeah.
And do you know who the original singer was?
I had to sing it in my head.
Do you know who the original
no, I
singer
don't.
was? It was Blondie. It was Debbie Harry and Blondie. Yeah. So as I was like, what a weird pull. The Tide is High. Like, why? Why that one? It didn't mean anything to the moment. It wasn't like a hit of the times. Like, I have no idea, because I'm pretty sure this was The Tide is High is like an early 80s song.
Who did the cover?
Atomic Kitten.
Oh.
So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Jump 5 was the one that did Shining Star, by the way, which I actually may have had a vinyl of Jump 5. Anyway, here's the next one. You ready?
Yep.
I can't pronounce it, but do you know the name of the airline that they took?
Lufthansa.
Lufthansa.
Jeez, what the heck? What the heck? Bougie all around. Y'all are like, when I fly international, blah, blah, blah.
I'm literally
What else
taking
did you
it next week.
expect?
Wow. Because I
speak German.
okay. All right. Wow. That's impressive. What room did they assign to Gordo at the hotel? What room number?
103.
That was
What the
good.
heck?
Yeah. Good job.
Go Shannon. All right. That's
I
awesome.
just watched it like an hour ago. Not that impressive.
You wow.
I've seen
talk
it
about
before. It's been like a decade or maybe 2 decades since I've
No, it's still
It's probably
impressive.
been
It's
2
still
decades for
impressive.
me.
Yeah. Their room was 104. She and her roommate, it was 104, but it was 103 for Gordo. When she fakes being sick, the doctor comes up and tells her to do 2 things. Stay in bed is one. What's the second thing he tells her to do?
Eat 2
Two
apricots.
apricots.
Yeah.
See, this is easy for you guys. I thought that would be a challenge. No, y'all are like apricots. Next. How old is Paolo in the movie?
17.
17. Because I was thinking that she was making it seem like it was not bad that he was 17, but she's going into high school and he's about to turn 18, and then that's an illegal relationship. So
Yep. She's probably 14.
I love that you were doing.
exactly.
I love that you were doing the problematic math in your head and going.
That's the exact reason that I knew that he was 17 as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor Paulo. Okay.
Which makes
All
me
right.
wonder, how old is Isabella?
I don't know. 15. Final answer. They're at a cafe and Paulo asks Lizzie to present the award with him at the award show. What color is the rose she has with her?
Yellow.
Why would you know that? That is absolutely correct, but why would you know that? Desi's like, I've been wronged too many times on these trivia not to get them all right this time. And she's like, did you watch it 100 times? Is that what happened?
No, I just came ready to play.
You did. You absolutely did. I only have one more for you. And so here you go. When she's talking to her roommate about going to the award show, the cartoon Lizzie pretends to accept an award, and she pulls out a list of all the names of the people she's going to thank. Whose name's on there twice?
Mom.
Boom. Darn. Y'all are good. Ace. Either I was lazy on the questions or y'all just knew. I think y'all just were good on this one because like some of those were some deep pulls. So congratulations on that. Thank you for playing along. I appreciate it. So
I
let's move.
wrote down a couple of questions, Rob,
Yeah, let's go.
just
Let's
in
have it.
case.
Let's
Ooh.
have it.
All right.
Did you wait? Did you
At
write them
the
down because you thought I would ask them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. But you didn't ask any of them, so
Okay.
it's fine. What is on the back of Gordo's shirt at the beginning of the movie? He's wearing like
St.
a
Peter's.
bowling shirt.
St. Peter's.
Ooh, and what's on the front?
Really?
Because I was going to ask that question. And she was
And
wearing a
what's on the
shirt that
front?
said, that I don't know, but she was wearing a shirt at that time that said
Phil.
love. Oh, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
She was wearing a shirt at that time that said love up here, and it had a 3 on the bottom.
Oh, and what's the name of the hotel?
I didn't catch it. I almost went
La
back and looked at it.
Cambini.
Cambini, yes.
Yeah.
Very good. When I heard them announce it, like when the principal comes in and she's talking to the guy at the front desk, she says, "Welcome to the hotel." And I heard it for a fleeting second, and then I was like, "Should I rewind and do that?" I was like, "Nah, I'm not going to ask that question." But yeah, that's a good one. Is that it?
Yeah,
Are you
that's
good?
all. That's all I wrote down. Yeah, just in
I
case.
did.
But then I got into the movie because, you know,
You were just sucked in. You were just sucked in.
yeah.
Yeah, so as this movie progresses again, there's really not a lot to it. It's 95 minutes long. I would say probably closer to 90. There's a lot of montage moments. There's the montage moment when they get on the plane and fly to Italy and drive to the hotel. That's one montage song. And then there's a montage song when Paolo is driving her through Italy. So there's just a lot of there's a montage song while he's teaching her the song and how to dance. So there's all these different little montages, but it all leads up to this final scene at this big amphitheater, this big award show. We think Gordo's been sent home, but he runs across Isabella. They get together. He finds out the truth about Paolo and this whole like convoluted thing about who can sing and who can't, and who's really trying to like get over on who. And then mom and dad. Here, let me ask you this: do you think that the boy did a good enough job to really make mom and dad plop down the money to fly all 3 of them to Italy?
I think mom already
What are
wanted
the
to go and was
economics
just
of
looking
this
for an
family?
excuse.
Yeah, that's a great question, though. Allison, you and I have talked about like apartments in New York and some of these movies and what they would actually cost. Like, I mean, that's a lot to go. You know what, son? You're right. Let's go.
I
I
mean, they just
mean,
flew
flights
coach.
were a little bit cheaper then, especially in 2002.
Yeah,
International flights
at
were
that point
pretty
in
cheap.
time.
Because I just flew my family to Germany over Christmas, and it was so much more expensive than it ever like was before because gas and inflation and the demand for traveling and all that stuff. And so that was like really frustrating. But it was like I can't imagine if I were to be like, we're going to the airport now and like tried to get on the next flight, it would have been like twice that. So even with like pretty reasonable flight costs in 2002, flying 3 people on a drop of a hat at the drop of a hat to Europe, it seems completely insane. And also like how do you have that money and also have that ability to take your time off work
Right?
for
That
like
Well,
2 weeks
For
or
me, it
whatever?
wasn't about the money. It was how did they just take the time off of work? What did they do for a living?
they just make that money. They make that paper. That's all they do. Let me ask you, Desi. You're going on a trip. How long did it take to plan this overseas trip for you?
Oh, I didn't plan it at all. My husband's a travel agent, so zero time.
Hey, Allison, when you went on your trip, how long did it take you to plan that trip?
Not that long, but not that long.
So I can't make my point here.
But
Okay, that's fine. That my point was like it
yeah,
usually takes.
yeah.
You got to
But
make sure everybody's got passports, and you got to make sure you know where you're staying, and how long you're going to be there, and all that kind of
that's
stuff. But
true.
they
We stayed
they
with
didn't.
friends, so that yeah, so I didn't have to worry about the hotel. I didn't have to worry about. I just had to get my family there, and we did have passport drama, by the way, the day before we flew out. So
Oh
I
no.
guess we didn't properly plan and look that stuff up.
Nothing like some passport drama at the last minute, right?
You got to
Um,
renew within 6 months.
Hmm.
That's what we didn't know. My husband's expired 4 months after the like, but we thought there was
Oh
plenty of
no.
time, but it was 6 months. So yeah, anyway, I was like, you just have to fix this. And a couple of calls to friends in the State Department later, and and we had to reschedule our flight 2 days later. But we got out and got on the trip.
So let me ask you this, Shannon, because this part didn't make a lot of sense to me. In the big reveal where we reveal that Paolo he really can't sing, and that it got Isabella and I want to say Hilary, but Lizzie are teaming up with him or with each other against him, and they come out and they kind of perform, and then Isabella kind of introduces Lizzie to the rest of the group and then leaves the stage. What was what? Why?
I was very confused. It was as if it's always been her dream to sing, but I never got that impression at all. She didn't sing at any point in the movie, and all of a sudden Isabella is giving her the stage to be this rock star. I was totally lost on that. But you know what else I was totally lost on? The fact that you called it an amphitheater, and I'm pretty sure it was the Coliseum.
It was the Coliseum, yeah.
Yeah.
And they practiced at Tivoli Gardens, which I thought was weird because I thought Tivoli Gardens was in Copenhagen.
Yes, that too.
And by the way, this amphitheater has the worst security because everybody who came at the last minute, including mom and dad, got right up front, no problems. I don't know how that happened.
Funniest line in the whole movie was the security guard saying, like, everyone says that, lady. And she's like, my daughter is on stage impersonating a pop star. That's what everyone says, lady. The only thing I laughed out loud to.
So,
and also Lizzie doesn't stop singing when she sees her parents right there in the front, which is also odd to me. Like there was no shock of, oh my gosh, my family just dropped everything to fly to Italy. She just kept going as if this was all part of the plan.
She's a real pro.
My only thought was that Gordo probably spent the night, well, not like in a weird way, but probably slept over at Isabella's house because he wasn't staying at the hotel. And they had the day he met her at the airport was the day before the actual concert. So he probably spent some time with Isabella and told her, Lizzie loves to sing and her biggest dream is to be a pop star. And that is probably why Isabella let her have the stage. But yeah, it was really, otherwise would have been very strange why Isabella would have just been like,
y'all
no
threw up
idea
some
if you can sing or
interesting red
not.
flags.
Go for it.
Like those are your red flags, is that, she would have stopped singing for sure when her parents showed up in the front. Not that her parents jumped on a plane and went to Italy, and no, that makes perfect sense. I'm sorry. And then the same thing about, like, where did Gordo stay between the time that he left and the time, like, you know. And maybe she kissed him out of pity, but really he wants Isabella. Maybe there's a relationship going on, and there was like a sequel coming that we don't know about.
Or maybe Gordo's not into girls, because he didn't look like he was that into the kiss, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. I want to show you something, and I need an explanation for this, so hang on a second. I don't know why they went to so much trouble for this scene.
Oh my gosh.
That's the Coliseum.
But I don't even think that's her.
It's definitely
and the background is so bad.
Right? Like, they went to so much trouble to make that scene, to make a moment to show that scene, and it's awful.
The kiss
it's
scene
awful.
too is the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like Miley Cyrus. This looks like Miley.
Looks like someone with a bad wig.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Hannah Montana in the yellow wig. Absolutely, look at that. But and I guess they had to stage the Coliseum at some point for this whole thing. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, none of it looks real, and they went out of their way to have that moment. And I just thought, y'all could have passed on this, and I would have been fine. Like, I don't know why you did so much effort for that moment, but I did think that was kind of weird. I did like the scene where the hotel owner manager, who seemed to have no other reason to be in the movie, took the blackmail tape and threw it into the fountain. So, And also just because sometimes I like to be, I like to inflict a little pain. Let's go ahead and watch.
Oh no.
This is so lemony. Can't.
Yeah, see, he's not into it.
No, I think he knows
He
that
wants
it's pity.
Miranda.
He wants Miranda. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a super chat from our good friend Jungle Cruiser, and it is actually that's not this one. Hang on, let me put it up a second. Technical difficulties beyond my control. But yes, thank you, Jungle Cruiser, for that. I believe it is this one. Lizzie is a great movie. However, Disneyland just announced a Grogu popcorn bucket starting on 5/2. We need an hour special report on this deep in the plus. Get your priorities in order. Thank you, Jungle Cruiser, A, for the super chat, and B, for the information, because I definitely need to throw more money away on popcorn buckets. So I was just there in Florida and got the yeah. I have a sponsor now, by the way. Everyone else is an enabler on this network, but now I have a sponsor who is going to help me through my problems. Everyone else is like, okay, has nothing to do with anything that has anything to do with Deep in the Plus. But I was in the Tron gift shop with Jake, and I said to him, "Tell me not to buy this Tron backpack and Bluetooth speaker," and he said, "Get it." And I went, no, tell me not to get it. He's like, "Nah, you need it." And I was like, "No." So that was a little bit of a challenge, but no, because my son was there and he talked me off the ledge. But now I feel like I wish I'd had it. So
okay.
thanks, Jake, for trying to do the right thing
If
for me. I
only
appreciate
you
it.
knew somebody in Florida who could get that.
I don't
for
know
you.
anybody in Florida. It's crazy. Yeah, but I did get the Pumbaa popcorn bucket for the 25th anniversary of
I
of
didn't
the
want to wait
Animal
in the
Kingdom,
line.
and I did get the Guardians of the Galaxy Skyliner bucket. So, I'm all caught up there. But there should have been a Timon sipper. We all agree on that. There should have been a Timon sipper to go with the Pumbaa popcorn bucket. And now we have messed up Allison completely. So this is why she's my sponsor.
I am planning on getting the Grogu cookies, though, that they are going to start selling in Disneyland Paris on May the 4th.
Okay.
That's already been bookmarked for me.
Okay. And speaking of May the 4th, next week, May the 3rd, we will be doing Mandalorian. We're going to have our Star Wars group on. We're going to do the Mandalorian for Deep in the Plus, the entire season 3. So if you haven't watched it already, watch it now. Get it all out of your system. Make sure you're ready to go, because spoilers aplenty once we roll around to next Wednesday night. Hopefully you guys can join us. But for tonight, let's wrap this one up. Thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. But I need to ask each and every one of you, and I need you to be very specific on this, because lives are on the line here. And I'm going to start with Desi. Desi, would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I would. I think it's cute. It's a fun little time capsule of the early 2000s. The fashion, the music, it's a fun movie, and I think it's, of the Disney Channel shows that turned into movies, I think it's the best one.
Okay. And hang on a second, Shannon?
I think I would as well, but probably to people who are younger than I was when I watched it, just because I don't know what it is, but it feels like nowadays kids are acting older than they are, and I don't think this would hit well or land well with the generation or the age group that I was when I watched it. So great, like Desi said, for everyone in my age now, in our millennial years, to feel nostalgic. But I think also there are some kids out there who would enjoy it.
Okay. And Allison?
This movie is a nightmare horror show, but I would recommend it because of this weird thing that I don't know what it is. Hilary Duff, just like she's not talented, but she's compelling. You want to watch her. You want to watch like her 80,000 outfit changes, like, I don't know, 15 alone in like just the first scene, you just like want to see how she wears clothes, and just like you like she is like somehow identifiable even though she's like not like it doesn't feel genuine at all. But you want to watch her, and for whatever reason that still holds true. You can see why she was like sort of the it girl on the Disney Channel. Even though she wasn't doing that much, she just like is sort of symbolic of that era. And so for all those reasons, I would recommend it. But I would preface it with like, this is a nightmare horror show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nightmare horror show. Wow. Nightmare horror show, and she would recommend it. I would say I would recommend it too, just because it's a fun little 90-minute movie. I don't know, Desi, that we needed to encapsulate anything in the early 2000s, but here it is, 2003, in a time capsule. I did think it was an interesting movie. It went by very quickly. It was a 90-minute watch. It was interesting too that I felt like, since I didn't really know the source of the Lizzie McGuire TV series, I thought maybe I would be a little bit lost. I don't think you are lost. I think if you are watching, or somebody who watched the original series, it probably meant a little bit more to you. And then you also probably were like, "Where's Matilda? Why isn't she in here?" I didn't miss her because I didn't know her.
Matilda, you
So
mean Miranda?
that's the one, Matilda Miranda. That's how little I know about her. The people who know her or more closely call her Matilda. Actually, if you look that up, that's a thing. Google that. The one thing I want to talk about before we end this whole thing is there was supposed to be a reboot Lizzie McGuire series that picked up with Lizzie at age 30, and it was supposed to star all the original cast. It was going to be on Disney Plus. Hilary Duff came out to that song, "This Is What Dreams Are Made Of," by the way, onto the stage at D23 at the Disney Plus panel in, I think, 2019 to promote the fact that it was coming. And it was one of the bigger things that I think most people were looking forward to seeing on the Disney Channel. And then my understanding is through creative differences of she wanted it to be an adult sort of a series that was really more to the people who grew up with Lizzie and where they were now in their lifetime. And Disney wanted it to be sort of like Boy Meets World, then Girl Meets World, where it was still like same cast, but back in that other throes. So,
Which was unwatchably bad.
Girl Meets World.
I tried to get into Girl Meets World. Yeah.
But see, that's the point, though. It wasn't made for you guys, really. It was made for like younger kids who were at the same age you were when you watched Boy Meets World.
But
right?
The thing is, they should have done it a few years later, because I don't think Corey and Topanga were really old enough to have a daughter that age. And so if you want the kids who grew up with Corey and Topanga to then therefore watch it with their kids later, like, my kids are way too young right now to be into Girl Meets World. They should have waited longer to continue on Corey and Topanga's story. Sorry, I've been on more of a rant on Girl Meets World than Lizzie McGuire.
So, Shannon, would you have which version would you have wanted to see of the Lizzie McGuire show?
No, definitely the adult one. That's why I still enjoy watching it now, because it's like, oh, I have the feels of when I was younger, but now I would love to be able to relate to Lizzie McGuire again, because we're about the same age, or it would have been about the same age when it came out. So it's a bummer. It's a missed opportunity for us.
Yeah, I understand. Did you guys watch the Hulu show How I Met Your Mother? I mean, How I Met Your Father that Hilary Duff is on?
No.
Because I feel like in a lot of ways that is the same show that she wanted to do. It is a bunch of friends who are around that same age who are trying to figure out relationships and love and life and jobs and careers and all that kind of thing. And it's kind of like How I Met Your Mother, but it's a little edgier, and it's really more of like, where she is now. So I almost think that How I Met Your Mother, which I know was planned a long time ago, might have kind of merged along the way with like, hey, we were planning on doing this show. We want to give this project to you, Hilary, and then you can do a little bit of what you were wanting to do before. So I like that show. It's in second season, just ended. So, and it's very similar to the setup of How I Met Your Mother, but you don't have to know the How I Met Your Mother series to enjoy it. So, or Lizzie McGuire for that matter. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see if somehow they do a movie, like a reboot of some sort of Lizzie McGuire, because I know this show meant a lot to a lot of people, and so I'm glad there is a movie out there. And again, I think it's part of Disney Channel history because Lizzie McGuire is such a big deal, the Lizzie McGuire movie. So you should probably watch it. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you've watched it, if you miss Lizzie McGuire, you love it. We'd love to hear from you. And again, we'll be back next Wednesday for Mandalorian season 3, and also catch Park Center this Sunday night at 9 p.m. and we will be talking about all things having to do with Disney and the parks and flaming dragons and all kinds of fun stuff that happened in the past week or so. So thank you all for being on the panel here tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.